Hello and welcome to another midweek message. Masks have become as ubiquitous as the cell phone over the course of the last year. The panic that we once felt about leaving our home without our cell phone has been replaced with the fear of leaving a house without a mask, because we can't go anywhere or do anything, it seems, without wearing one. They are inconvenient, uncomfortable, and honestly a downright nuisance. For all of the good that perhaps they accomplish, none of us really like them. The most frustrating thing about them to me is the fact that they hide people's faces. More than once over the course of the last year, I've failed to recognize someone as quickly as I should, or perhaps thought I recognized someone only to second guess myself, because their face was mostly obscured by a piece of cloth or paper that they were wearing. I understand the requirement for them. I know why it is that people wear them. It just doesn't mean I have to like it. But masks are far more of a problem in the spiritual realm than they are the physical. The Apostle Paul wrote in 2 Timothy chapter 3 about perilous times that would come, times in which men would be lovers of self and of money. Men would be boastful and arrogant and revilers. They would be disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, unloving, and irreconcilable. Malicious gossips, without self-control, brutal and haters of good, treacherous, reckless, and conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, who hold to a form of godliness, although they have denied its power. It's difficult to read that list in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 through 4, and imagine that any of these could be described as holding to any form of godliness at all. But that's exactly what the Apostle Paul said. That is, men would be any or all of these things and yet would make some attempt at an appearance or facade of being godly people. The truth was that deep down they had denied the power of godliness to transform their lives, to purge them of any or all of these sins. But that didn't stop them from trying to keep up appearances. They were, if you will, attempting to wear a mask, to hide their real spiritual identity behind a mask, a facade, a show of being godly, spiritual, Christ-following people. This condemnation reminds me of some of Jesus' sternest words recorded in Matthew chapter 23, when he would say over and over again, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites." And in verse 23, he said, "You tithe mint and dill and cumin, and have neglected the weightier provisions of the law, justice and mercy and faithfulness. These things you should have done without neglecting the others. You blind guides who strain out a gnat and swallow a camel." Again in verse 25, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you clean the outside of the cup and of the dish, but inside they are full of robbery and self-indulgence. You blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and of the dish, so that the outside of it may become clean also." Again, verse 27, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like whitewashed tombs, which on the outside appear beautiful, but inside they are full of dead men's bones and all uncleanness. So you too outwardly appear righteous to men, but inwardly you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness." The word hypocrisy in its original usage was a term that referred to play acting, that is, playing a part, appearing and acting one way as if on a stage in performance, when the truth of your identity was something else altogether. Hypocrisy is one of the great spiritual dangers, wearing a form of godliness, putting on an appearance, wearing a spiritual mask, when the reality is that our spiritual life is not at all what we want others to think it is. Jesus said, "Woe to you, hypocrites." We need to ask ourselves who we're really trying to deceive. Is it that we are trying to deceive God? We're trying to make God think that we are His dutiful servant when we're really not? Are any of us so foolish as to really think that we can genuinely deceive the Creator and Sustainer of heaven and earth, the one who has the ability to see the hearts of men? I doubt it seriously. More than likely, we are trying to deceive men around us. We're trying to deceive those who sit in the pews near us on Sunday mornings. We're trying to deceive our closest family and friends, perhaps, maybe our spouse or our children, even our classmates or co-workers, neighbors and friends. We're trying to put on a form of godliness to make them think that we are something spiritually that we are not. And with that, we might be successful. Probably not, but we might be. What I think is most dangerous of all is that sometimes we're putting on a mask to try to deceive ourselves. James wrote in James chapter 1 of those who were hearers of the word and not doers, who delude or deceive themselves. James 1 and verse 22. That is, they don't put into practice what they really know to be right, and the danger is that they deceive themselves into thinking they're something when they really aren't. We need to be careful about our spiritual lives. We're not talking about spiritual weakness. That is, things with which we genuinely struggle and on which we are genuinely working in an effort to improve our devotion and the quality of our spiritual life. But when we talk about hypocrisy or a form of godliness, putting on an appearance, we are talking about a willful effort to deceive, a deliberate effort to try to appear to be something that we deep down know we're not. Rest assured, we will not deceive God. We likely won't deceive those around us, but even if we do, there's great danger in trying to deceive ourselves, because we might just be able to do that. We need to get past a form of godliness. We need to get past the spiritual mask that we might be wearing. We need to get deep down into the spiritual heart and perform radical surgery if necessary, to continue to work on those areas in which we are genuinely weak without just trying to gloss over them with a fresh coat of paint. I'm ready to be rid of these masks, but more importantly, I'm ready to be rid of spiritual masks. We need to be honest with ourselves, with others, and with God about who we are and work on the deeper issues within every one of us. Thanks so much for watching.